a good session. For those of you who joined us in May, it was very eye-opening, and it's always useful for us to come and attend these fireside chats in our community, because it's been an especially difficult year last year and this year, and we're still adjusting to life as we know it, or new normal as they keep trying to call it. But yeah, it's always good to check in with our community, and it's good to have somebody like Dr. Rinkoo come along and help remind us the importance of resilience. And today we're going to deep dive a little bit more into empathy and understanding the difference between, not losing yourself in the process. As caregivers, I was just having a conversation with Dr. Rinkoo earlier. As caregivers, sometimes in the moment when something happens to our loved ones, we kind of get caught up between, do I let myself grieve and be upset, or do I just be there for my loved one and kind of enter into their reality for a while and go with it with kindness and loving and warmth. And I find myself struggling with my mom and her dementia, so I get it, and I know that I'm not alone in this. So the good thing is tonight we'll get to have a conversation about it again. In the meantime, I just want to do a quick reminder, some housekeeping. Please keep your mics on mute for the time being, for the duration of Dr. Rinkoo's presentation. Of course, we're more than happy to have you ask questions. We will try our best to get to them at the end. But in the meantime, if you want to quickly kind of put it down before you forget, please feel free to do so in our chat box. We will all be able to see it. And when she's done with her presentation, and then we can start jumping into the questions, we will definitely try to get to yours. But yeah, in the meantime, I hope you enjoy your time with us. And I am really, really happy to welcome back to the fireside chat for Cal, Dr. Rinkoo Ghosh. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Nadia, for that beautiful introduction. And it's just delightful again to be part of the CAL community with my lovely working team, Trisha, Nadia, Zah, and every one of my wonderful friends, Karen, my classmates. I think some of them are here, Suhun and Angeline, and most of all, I think I'd like to thank all of you today. It is indeed delightful, just so delightful just to be back again for part 2 of the resilience session. I am very heartened and blessed. In fact, we might be having even more in numbers than we did in the first run. So I can't tell you that in an evening setting, when all of you have been so busy either with work or caregiving at home, like Nadia and I go through with our mothers and all, and that you are able to spend this time here with me and all of us together as a family, I'd like to say a very big thank you for that. I'm delighted and blessed. And from here on, no more Dr. Rinkoos, we just go straight to the name. It's Rinkoo, and I'll be very delighted if you just address me as my name. Okay, so thanks, Nadia, my dear, and my wonderful working team. You all know who you are. I wanted to say to all of you that I'm just coming in here, like Nadia said, part 2, really a little bit about sharing my own experiences, because I've been, like so many of you, either you're in the role of caregiving in a very deep way, like Nadia and I are, or you are getting into the role, or you are very at the pretty far journey in already into caregiving. I have been for 12 years now, for both my father and mother. My father passed on, bless him. And it's been a very, very a rewarding but a trying journey. And so I'm coming here from my experience and not an expert. And I hope that those who are the members of public who are here today, I thank you all. I think it'll be useful maybe in terms of just the topic itself, right? And I also think that the feedback from the last run was to talk on empathy and self-empathy. So I'm actually honoring some feedback, and I want to thank the participants who have joined back again into this part 2. It gives me great joy. Thank you so much for this time again, right? So let me just switch on my slides. I am very conscious of time, so I must make sure that I give time for Q&A and chats with all of you. So partners on the path, you are all my partners. And we're just here to just have a conversation, really. So let's just quickly move on to the next slide. I'd like to thank everyone in CAL, starting with Tim Lee and the whole CAL community and all my friends here. And thank you all so much for being part of this today. Really, I just am so honored and blessed, and sometimes I feel very teary that, wow, 100 people are coming to listen to me. That's awesome, right? So yes, I am actually from the global institute called the Resilience Institute. It's a global leader in research and developing human performance in resilience. You may realize why I'm in this field, because I've had no one except myself to build a resilient skill, right? No one was going to look after me in the 10-year journey that I have been through, and 2 years even before that. I am more interested in building the energy and capacity in myself and all of you people, if in some way I can help all of you. And also, of course, because of organizational level, I'm helping leaders and managers as well. But today, I want to keep it interactive, even if this is a webinar. So can I just ask all of you, I can see all of you, I can see some of you video off, it doesn't matter, but if I could just ask all of you to quickly go to the chat and tell me, where is your energy meter right now, right? Where is your energy meter right now? And if I have not mentioned name, oh yeah, Frank, I wanted to say hi to Frank as well. I want to say hi to a lot of you people, but I'm forgetting the names right now. Thank you, Mo, that's lovely. Energized, oh, lovely. A bit sleepy, I can understand that, Stephen. Yeah, that's why I haven't eaten yet. Thanks, Karen. Wow, sure, okay. Wow, ready to listen. Wow, very good, very good. Wow, I'm so touched, I'm so touched. Thank you very much, guys. Wow, nice. Nice, thank you so much. Okay, you see, this is why you guys, you honor me. I honor this feedback, and that's why I like to keep coming back and sharing whatever I can, if it ever helps all of you. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you, guys. Just keep it coming while I move on. So I suppose I may have to very quickly share this slide, but it's a little busy slide. I hope you don't mind. Very quickly, my journey was, well, it was actually 2011 when my father started to show signs. 2012, my father had multiple silent heart attacks, and I was very, very alone. That's when the journey started. My mother went for her India prayer trip, just 7 days respite, and that's when everything just happened. My helper at that time was just about to go back to get married, and I was just left alone. My brother is a medical doctor, ironically, but he's never here. He's in the UK. I went into this unexpected caregiver role, an accidental caregiver. I had no idea. And I went into fight, freeze, flight, or is it the other way around? And I just didn't know how to handle this. Fast forward, my father went through a terrible 3 silent heart attacks by Jan 2013, with a lot of ICU hospitalizations, 45 different visits to hospitals, me staying overnights in hospitals, me pushing doctors through to say, I'm going to sit through the ICUs to make sure he survives. Fast forward, between the 2013 to November 2015, my father needed round-the-clock attention. My mother went into this depression from seeing him. I had no choice but to stop a wonderful career, lose my promotion, and get straight into no paid leave. That went on for, 18 months, I think. And I had wonderful directors who just knew I was in service for 25 years and gave me gladly that leave. My helper at that time, the second one, got all exhausted, blah, blah, blah. Again, I lost another helper. She was too young. My body, my mind went into overload. I thought I was going to die. Support was so limited because my father refused to accept outside carers, and I just could not get him to accept, and that's what happens to some of the parents, right, that we have. So all of you will have different caregiving journeys, and I'm sharing mine, and maybe some of it will resonate and some of it will be different for all of you. Fast forward to November 15 to 2016, my father's onset of dementia towards the last stage of his life. My mother went into a skin rash, eye problem, cataracts, wrist fracture, and above all, because I couldn't take it anymore, I was breaking down. I ran to him one day in the toilet and I broke my humerus. And I had to find my own way to the hospital and get there because my brother wasn't there. Then finally, at that point, my friends were killing me and saying, you need support. You need a lot of support. You cannot do this anymore on your own, right? And then June 16, my father's birthday, my heartbreaking news that he dies. right? I was stricken with guilt because I thought I fed him the wrong way and he went straight into aspiration pneumonia. My mom's still in depression and whatnot. Life just went into a depression downward spiral for me. And then November 17, about a couple of months later, I tried to unwind myself, go back to work. I was living in a great coping mechanism, nothing near resilience. I finally had the most beautiful Myanmarese helper who stuck through everything with me till today. And now I'm in April. My mom's in high advanced vascular dementia. If you ask Nadia and Zah, I have been having the fear in the last 1 week that she's having some kidney issues. She's not eating. She's not being able to go to the toilet. She can't sleep. And by now I have built up certain resilience capacity. So I am able to say it is not what happens to you, it is what you do with it, right? So this was my journey. And I realized that when everything happens, it all happens at one go. And it's only yourself at that stage that you have to find yourself. So I went straight into a year ago, the low road to resilience. For those of you who joined my sessions, you would know that resilience starts with the confusion first. When you go into a low road of the downward spiral and you let stress take over you, you will first hit the cognitive level of confusion and then you spiral right down to vulnerability, distress, and depressed. So don't call people depressed before you know that what really is going on. So from confusion, it leads to depression. My body physiology had given way. That led to terrible negative emotions. My mind was already in overload and my actions were going all wrong and all over the place. And that's me in the picture. And the last session I talked about, many of us try to be like superheroes, like warriors, want to take on everything and kill ourselves in the process, Then we lead into caveman role where we are filled with fear and guilt and we don't want to come out of the cave. And then finally negative emotions take over us. That was my life until last year when I tried to do something about it, to head back to the high road of resilience. And so today I'm here to share what the Resilience Institute calls the learned ability to bounce, grow, connect, and flow. So I spoke a little bit about bounce and growing with energy again. Today I'm talking about an area that all of you would like to talk, which is connect and connect before you flow. So if we want to connect, we're neurologically wired to connect and love people. We are wired to want to talk to people, but we can't do that if we don't engage our emotions properly, if we don't empathize in the right way. And that's why I'm here today. And I can't reach flow unless I know that, all right? And for those of you who just text me privately, this session is recorded, so you don't have to take any of the slide picture shots, so don't worry about it, guys, okay? Because this session is fully recorded for all of you. All right, so today's agenda is I hope you don't mind. I know all of us have different definitions of empathy. I like to respect that in this world, there are various different definitions of empathy. I had my own, all of you have yours, right? But I want to talk a little bit about what it really is and what it is to me and where I have gone wrong in it. And therefore, a little bit about what is empathy, what is the empathy portal and circuit for us? What is that? Where are we in this journey of empathy? I call that the empathy portal. And then a little bit about what empathic distress meant for me, what it could for you, if some of you are in that journey right now, and also what's the difference between that and empathic concern. Then I want to talk a little bit about part 2, engaging our emotions, self-empathy tools. I had to build up my engagement and my emotional regulation to be able to sustain myself and be here for my mom and empathize with her. So I've got a couple of tools around that. They may be intuitive to all of you, but they are my science-based.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I begin this evening by talking to you about taking care of yourself is a must, because no one's going to do it for you. You set the tone for others you care about. Because if you do not care properly in the right way, it's going to go and hit negative consequences for your loved ones. All right. And that's what I have learned in a very big way. And if you don't mind, I think resilience mastery starts with just one ritual for yourself. Just one, right? One little ritual daily. Otherwise, we're not going to get very far. All right. So let's begin the evening. Let me just ask all of you in the chat, all right? I know all of us have different definitions of empathy. So let me ask all of you, let's check your understanding. Let's have a quick read of this and tell me, which do you think is sympathy? Which do you think is empathy? Which do you think is compassion? So this will be helpful for working people. This will be helpful for us as, caregivers. It will be helpful for organizations. Let's just try and understand very quickly what it is. So chat with me on the chat group right now. Which one do you think is a sympathy statement? Which one do you think is an empathy statement? Which one do you think is a compassion statement? Just give me what you can, right? The first one is your colleague looks very distressed in a Zoom room and you write to her and you ask her and you give her some comforting words because you are just a carer like her as well. So you're probably feeling something. The second one is a young colleague. She presents with such nervousness and you later tell her that you've noticed that she was very nervous and you send her some presentation sheets. The third one is a poor close colleague of yours who's a carer gets a really bad grade by her boss and you want to fix it by going and asking. So let's have all of you quickly chat with me. Elena, thank you so much. I'm sorry, what does A mean? Is A compassion for you? Is A empathy for you? Is A sympathy for you? All you have to type is A is compassion, B is sympathy, whatever you like. Just a few responses. Thanks, Samantha. A is empathy. Elena, A is empathy. Any of you want to try sympathy, compassion? A is empathy, wonderful. B is sympathy. C is sympathy. Thanks, Mosh. Samantha, thank you. Let me get this. Charis, A is sympathy, B is compassion. Interesting, very, very interesting. A is sympathy, B is compassion, and C is empathy. Okay, interesting. All right, I'm going to move on to the next slide. And I'm going to just sort of explain to you really in research what we have gathered. All right. And I had to learn this as well. Right. So let me just share with you. For those who got it right, excellent. But let me first share with you the definitions. All right. Once again, this session is recorded, so you don't have to actually take any camera shots because my slides are copyrighted. All right. So sympathy. All right. Sympathy is really acknowledging feelings or the suffering of the other. Okay. And by that, I mean the mental terrain. Right? You observe nonverbal cues, but in sympathy, a certain power distance is maintained. All right? There is a level of distance you maintain in sympathy. I know today the world of sympathy, empathy is very interchangeable. And I know in literature today, 10 years on, wow, empathy is like the biggest thing now. In the earlier days, it was all sympathy, right? But today, this is what sympathy means. You observe nonverbal cues, you keep it at a certain head level. Empathy is feeling what others are experiencing. You feel with them, the emotional terrain. And compassion is where my worry is, because there's a willingness to resolve and relieve the suffering of the other. There's this need to act on behalf. There's a need to suffer together in service of. All right. So if I take it to my mother, if she had a terrible tummy pain like she did today, a sympathy statement from me would be, oh, mom's got another tummy pain. Then I'll tell my helper, Tintin, would you like to put some tiger balm on her and let's see how she is? An empathy statement would be, oh, mom, you've got a terrible tummy pain. Don't worry, I'm right here for you. All right? Don't worry. You lie down, we'll put some tiger balm. I'm right here. I'm not sure what I can do to make that pain go away immediately, but I'm right here with you. Right? And compassion is, oh my God, my mom's had a tummy pain for the last 4 times. I'm going crazy. I don't feel like sleeping, eating. She can't eat. She has trouble going to the toilet. This is getting too much for me. I need to resolve this. I better call my brother who's a medic and drive him crazy until I get a solution. All right? That is compassion. So used to loving and overdoing it that you lose yourself in the process. Right? So if I can tell you what it is, empathy is the first one. Sorry, empathy is the first one. You see a carer looking very tired in the office on a Zoom meeting. You're with her. You share her feelings and you simply just want to talk to her, right? Sympathy is, oh, a colleague is nervous. You tell her, I noticed your nonverbal cues. You were rather nervous. Oh, would you like me to send you some presentation tips? Maybe that'll help you, right? Basically, you maintain a certain distance, right? You're not, it's a mental terrain for you. And compassion is, your colleague gets a bad score. You go out of your way unnecessarily when it shouldn't be your place to act on behalf, to try and resolve the situation for her when it's not really necessary. All right? So that's compassion. Your role is to be with her and make sure she's okay, but it's not for you to act and resolve. All right? So then I'd like to lead into something that I developed as a portal. And I'd like to ask you where all of you are, right? So throw the slide up, straight up. Now, for all caregivers or people in the organizations, let me share with you the axis, the vertical axis and the horizontal axis, right? Bear with me on this one. Caregivers, this is for you. The people who are just in the working world, this is also for you, all right? I had to learn things the hard way, right? On the extreme left is hostile. That means you probably avoid, you're scared to caregive. You're scared to show too much love. Maybe in the office, you're scared to show too much care for your staff, all right? As you move up the continuum of empathy, right, you are kind of ignorant. You want to, maybe you want to look after your mother, you want to look after your special needs child, you want to be good to your colleagues, but you're kind of ignorant, you don't know what to do, you're kind of clueless. Now, as you move up that continuum and you grow into the field, you start to feel empathy, which is sympathy, which is feels for, all right, has some level of understanding of body language, or empathy, feels with. And that is a beautiful place to be, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen and caregivers, that's a beautiful place to be. That's called empathic concern. If I even move further up that chain, I am moving into something even deeper in empathy, and that's called cognitive or thinking. I can think what my mother's feeling. I can feel what she's feeling, right? That suspending of judgment, right? As Nadia and I were talking about, when mothers and fathers are in stroke or in dementia and they talk all sorts of funny gibberish things, right? Just try to understand what they're thinking inside. Just feel for them. Just go in the journey of and not but. That is much deeper. But let me just say that if you cross that path, everyone, you may be hitting into compassion, because this is where burnout starts to happen. This is where you start to want to do everything. My father wanted me to do everything for him. He wouldn't let me get any support. He wouldn't let me do anything. And I just went into that hole and I started looking after my father in every which way, helping him to put on his shoes, helping him to brush his teeth, trying to be there for every second of the day, at night, every hour, giving him oxygen, not sleeping. I did everything and anything because I loved him so much, to the point that I didn't know how to even look after my mother with him, to the point that I lost myself in the process, to the point I got so angry with my brother that I went into something called empathic distress. And that is not a good place to be. Rather, it would have helped if I found support up front and earlier on and listened to my brother about that and did a skillful compassion, a skillful love. Right? So it's wonderful to be in passive competence of empathy. There's no need to go beyond that, because compassion can be interchangeable with the word empathy. But to be honest, overdoing and getting too used to it and getting overwhelmed in the mind will cause empathic distress. So think about it personally for yourselves. Where are all of you at? And I leave that question for all of you to think about. You don't have to answer me that. All right, where are you in your empathy circuit? What is empathic distress? It is a state I went to, an emotional state characterized by suddenly my inability to cope further from any pains and perceived pains that anyone is going through, aka my mother now who's living. And I went into compassion fatigue, and now I'm in this, oh my God, what will I do? What will I do? I led myself to that, without trying to build my resilient muscles, right? And so what is empathy, everyone? Empathy has three core elements. Hold judgment. If your mother's going to talk gibberish all day as a dementia patient, so what? Accept it. Don't worry. Try to think and feel what she's going through in her world. Have presencing. You don't have to act at everything she goes through. She has tummy pains today. She is not able to go to the toilet much. It is what it is at 82. It happens to dementia people. There's no need to overwhelm yourself. Find a good solution around it. Maybe a little hospitalization to check her systems, bring her back home in 2 days, right? Presencing, be there. But there's no need to go into fatigue about it. Recognize and love them for who they are. All parts of them. Everything, thick and thin. All flaws. That is empathy. And let's just stay there, everyone. Let's just stay there. But one barrier that I caution all of you, and I caution myself every day, do not, empathy negates itself if you correct over connect. Mom, what are you doing? Stop trying to tear your clothes. Mom, what are you doing? Why aren't you sleeping? Stop it. No, stop putting your hands in the wrong places. Stop doing this. Stop brushing your teeth the wrong way. Stop it. Rinkoo, stop it. Stop correcting. Mom, what are you talking about? You're talking gibberish. There's no man in this house. It's just you and me and Tintin. Stop correcting. Correct. No more. Connect. Connect over correct. And if I do that continuously to the mother that I have left for how long, I don't know, I will never really show empathic concern, right? So that's empathy for me. And I read this book by Susan Scott, beautiful book, right? Our lives succeed or fail one conversation at a time. Just listen and be there. There's no need to cut in. There's no need to worry too much and panic and say things that make the situation and the climate worse, right? Okay, so what is empathy? Caregivers, healthcare workers, organization people. Empathy has boundaries. Empathic connection means there's no need to get emotional because they may look emotional. Doesn't mean you have to get over emotional over everything. Like now, the idea now is she's going downhill. It's better to hospitalize my mother, stay with her, get the test done, come back. There's also no need to agree to everything your caregivers, your loved ones ask you. Go get me my food. I don't want to do this. You don't have to agree to everything. So no, there's a way around them. Give them some time. You don't have to agree that they don't want to take a shower. Just give them some time and find some way to get them in, right? You don't have to agree to everything, but you need to do it compassionately, empathically, all right? So then I realized that in order for me and in order for all of us to really understand what is empathy truly in that sense and to always remain so for your loved ones, I have had the hardest part in the second part. Right? Because I went into a downward spiral, I never really ever acknowledged my emotions. I don't know how many of you do that. When you wake up in the morning, do you even put a self-camera check on and say, gee, Rinkoo, how are you feeling today? I don't know how many of you do that because I certainly didn't. I certainly didn't. And I will admit to you, I may be on a resilient spiral upward, but hey, I've got a long way to go. All right, I've got a long, long way to go, but I am not so low in distress and depression now because I've had to manage this. So welcome to the world of managing our emotions. And I call that self-awareness check, right? And I think you all agree with me on that. And for that, I ask all of you, right, whether you're caregivers or members of the public in organizations, all right, excuse my naughty little baby finger here, very naughty, all right? So list the different emotions you have felt as a caregiver or individual in the last 24 hours. Right? Whether you're an individual caregiver, what have you been feeling? Have we even asked ourselves that question? I haven't for a good 10 years. I don't know. Right? If you guys have, kudos to all of you. I am proud of all of you. So let's just go to the chat a little bit and ask ourselves, where are all of you? You're not tired and kanchong. Oh, thanks, Always tired, always tired. Mona, I so agree with you. Drained, exhausted, unappreciated. You know, my mom has been calling me her sister's name for the last 6 months. And the other day she hurt my feelings by saying, go away, I don't want to talk to you, because I'm trying to get her into a hot shower. And you know, dementia people don't like water. They think they're going to drown in it or something, right? Always wondering what's coming up each day, always getting tired, always feeling hopeless, loved and tired. Thank you. Helpless, hopeless. Yeah, these are the emotions. And you know, each emotion is unique and separate. Don't ever cluster that and say, oh, you're upset, is it? No, you're not. I said I'm frustrated. I didn't say I'm upset. Right? So never ever negate someone's emotions and feelings. When they say guilty, it doesn't mean they're in shame. When they say anxious, it doesn't mean they're over worrying. So let's respect everyone for their emotions. All right? That's the very first thing we need to do. Right? And I don't even know what my emotions were anymore. When my coach said, list, I can't list. I don't know. List, write it down. Right? That's what he said to me. Write it down. So I don't know, you know, I just created this little comical archetype. I think I'm everything right now. And I call this the forever stressed Francis, or the wounded Walter, or the totally confused Tom. I'll just get a couple of responses. Guys, you should know by now, I'm forever stressed Rinkoo. I'm a burnt out Rinkoo by now, right? I'm only now starting to move up the upward spiral. All right. And so which archetype do you think you're tending towards, right? If we can't even describe ourselves, are very hard for us to build resilience muscles, right? We got to be honest with ourselves. So where are all of us, right? Thank you, Bikyo. Thank you. Unthinkable of things. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that when we do Q&A, right? Sometimes disappointed, can't handle the situation. Yeah, I've been through all of that, just like you. Upset, hoping for a small improvement, can't accept a condition. Yes, we can't accept. We cannot accept, right? So we feel stressed, tired. We don't know what to do anymore, right? We feel like in limbo. Lara, that's right. If you have another archetype that I haven't, I'm blind spot to, thank you for that, right? Always worrying, right? Worrying. The angry Ellie, right? Because from my stress, I also became the very angry person, because I felt no one loves me, no one cares about me, I have to do everything by myself, right? And that is dangerous, guys. So let me share with you, thank you. This is where I was. For the longest time, you might be too, that I never accepted that I was in a fight, flight, freeze zone. I was so mad. I said, how long do I have to look after Dad? When are you coming down to help me? As a brother, as a medical doctor, that's enough now. I don't want to do anymore. I've had it. You know, that's what I was like. And flight, I'm leaving now. You come. You are the son. You should be here, right? Mom, why are you forever so depressed? Get out of that couch. Your friends are coming every day to try and take you out. I've had it. I'm not. Then freeze. No one is helping. No one is doing. I submit in. I submit in anger. That's no good, guys. That's no good, right? So the first thing is beware of this and say that and admit it and make that conscious. Because if you don't have the F cube, right? The FFFs, right? If you don't know that, right? You are not going to cure yourself. You're going to empathic distress, and you will get into all these things that you set out to me, right? And so remember, where did the word emotions come from? It came from the Latin word movere. And what does movere mean? It means emotions is giving you a choice. You can either move in a positive direction and try, or bring that emotion to a negative. The choice, in my first session, I called it the choice model. It's up to us. You want to take a passive, non-resilient choice, or you want to take an active, resilient choice. And active resilience means just being aware that life can be miserable, but all right, then we're carrying, we're going to get through the day. Just now, Zah and Nadia, we're just laughing about our lives and just saying to ourselves that it's okay, it is what it is. We took it to a positive movere, right? And we work with and connect with each other to just get that stress out, right? And that's important. That's very important, okay? And It's like choosing your clothes from the cupboard. If I'm going to choose my black blouse all the time, I'm going to wear the black mood every day. And that's no good, guys. Go to the reds, go to the whites, go to the blues, and tell yourself, I am not going to carry this emotion with me the whole day because I choose not to, right? Trust me, it's not easy. It's a big ask. And I know after caregiving for 10, 12 years, right? But remember, I had to face these questions myself. Rainbow colored clothes, Stephen, that is brilliant. It took me a while to even come to say that. I still haven't got rainbow colored clothes, so well done to you, all right? So I call this intuitively, you guys will know, name, tame, reframe. The first thing I said to myself is, right, what is myself to? Name it. Name the various feelings that you're having. Because when you name them, you know that you can explain them. If you're feeling disengaged, it's different from feeling annoyed. If you're feeling frustrated, it's different from feeling confused. All right? Name it and appreciate the naming. Do you know why? Because let me tell you, acknowledging the feeling is not nearly enough, guys. You need to explain it, right? I am so frustrated today because my brother has delayed his flight for 5 days, right? I am so upset today because my mother never seems to get better. Emotional reasoning. Emotional reasoning. Write it out, because from that emotional brain, you will slowly move back to the logic. Because if you don't explain yourself, you will never be able to solve that problem. So my brother said to me, what made you so angry? I'll say, you know, the truth is, I was just angry that you delayed the flight by 5 days. And then we start a wonderful conversation from there. I get it. Thank you for explaining that to me. Before, I would trap it inside, you know, I don't want to tell him this, I don't want to tell my mom that, don't tell my father this. And it was killing me in anger. And the emotions was going down a turmoil. But if you process it, you know which one you're feeling. Say, because, why? Okay. Then the other thing that I did, because we're all trained in EQ, emotional intelligence, is this. Okay. It's something called pattern seeking. I noticed many people were saying things to me, but I just kept ignoring it. And pattern seeking to me is the onion peeling. All right. And you know what it is, the layer peeling one by one, right? So let me just share with you very quickly. Many people said to me, right, you know, Rinkoo, one of the patterns we noticed when you were caregiving is that number one, you're very withdrawn. Okay. You don't want to talk to anybody. And number two, when someone tells you and makes you angry, you totally shut down. Many people told me this in the office, in my 25 years, in the last 10 years, okay, my brother, my closest buddies, right? And what happens is that when my core of my pattern is when I think someone is angry with me, I submit and shut down. Because I shut down, I therefore want to avoid conflict. And because I avoid conflict, I no longer want to talk. And I don't want to voice my opinions. And therefore in meetings, I also clamp down. And then I used to get so angry with my mother, I would run away and go to my room and give her that long face, you know. And then if I don't voice my opinion, I get into more emotional turmoil, and I don't even want to think about myself or my opinion, and therefore it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then I ignore my opinions and my needs and my desires, and then I go back into another downward spiral of emotions. Okay, my question to all of you is, ask yourself, what is that core pattern in you that's always making you feel like life is so miserable or life is so stressful? What are people saying? Outside feedback is important too, right? Then when you get the first pattern, what's your next one? What's that response like? When you get your second pattern, yeah, Mosh, I know it's an ouch for me too, right? When you see your second pattern, what do I do in response to that? When you see a third pattern, what do I do in response to that? Get to your 4 circles. And always remember, feedback from people is very, very liberating, because you will cry when they give you that ouch, like my brother used to. But in the end, now I've appreciated him so much more. And it doesn't have to be a big earth-shattering thing. It could be the smallest thing that people have noticed. That, you see, you always do this. You always do this. Right? My brother was, see, I say anything to you, you clamp up. Cannot tell you anything on. You know? And I realized that that's an emotion I was evading. And to build a quality relationship, I started accepting. right? And I started accepting my emotions. My mom is going through a dementia. My mom is 82. My mom is running away from home. My mom is screaming that this is not a home. Okay? The pattern of behavior is, what is this? What is this? That was my pattern. No, I don't want to talk like that anymore. I want to be able to accept, right? And so self-talk, negative self-talks. Why is my life like that? Everyone's life is so good, people's standards, they're doing so well, what are my standards? I've let down my standards. My reality versus other people's reality. Wow, my expectations versus my feedback. Negative self-talk, negative self-talk. Don't go there, all right? Try not to go. Switch it to positive self-talk. Don't, because it just doesn't do you good, all right? And so this is your own self-critique score, and I've given myself a score here. You can read this, right? This is just a self-critique score. I'm happy to send this to you so that you can reflect that on your own, right? And I wouldn't want to invade your privacy for you to tell me in front of everybody what's your self-score. But there's mine, all right? There's mine. Count it. Terrible, right? Right? So it's a bit better now. It used to be 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, but I can say it's a little better now. And so I moved from naming to taming, all right? So how do I tame myself? I always told myself, this is the accelerator that I've been living in. Pull the handbrake, right? Give your brain a break, right? Pull the handbrake, guys. There's a 10th cranial nerve in our body. And if you exercise it from the neck down, you're actually pulling that handbrake, all right? And you're gonna stay not so emotional, okay? So I always say in my first session, I said, everyone, when you breathe, and I think a lot of my wonderful colleagues in dementia who taught me so much about understanding what is dementia, and all my lovely classmates and my trainers like Frank, Elizabeth, Sharon, Karen, everyone, we were all taught to breathe. We've got to breathe right. We've got to breathe 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out, through the belly, not like as if we're giving birth, because even that is, it's all wrong. Okay, the real breathing is inhale slowly, exhale 6 seconds more than inhaling, but through the belly. Make sure that when you inhale, your belly sticks out. When you exhale, your belly goes back in. That's the true breathing I do every day, even now, because I have a terrible, rare condition of lung allergies that hit me this year, and I thought I was going to die. I had another case of pneumonia. And trust me, guys, I vouch it, this works. So at this moment, I would like to stop speaking, and I'd like to bring in my guru, Dr. Sven Hansen, who is the founder of Resilience Institute, and he brought us into the place of self-acceptance and presencing. So allow me to play this 4 or 5 minute. I'd like all of you to just close your eyes, feel comfortable, and it's a little, mindfulness, if you would call it, but it's something just for Wednesdays, and I call it loving kindness. That's the name I gave it, because it's for caregivers like us. So let me just allow you to switch off your videos, just close your eyes, and let me put this on, all right? And tell me how you feel after that.
Good morning and welcome to your Wednesday practice. Monday we focus on calm, Tuesday on energy, and on Wednesday things get a little more interesting as we move up to the mind and emotion. So our focus for Wednesday is love or compassion, or if we want to keep it simple, just a sense of kindness. So adopt a good posture, relax your face, drop your mind into your body, and focus on that feeling of breathing. As you breathe in, feel the breath moving into the area of the heart. And as you breathe out, notice how the heart is cushioned in the lungs. We start this practice with a little kindness to yourself. So as you focus on your heart, just for a moment, Feel yourself. Note the preciousness of your existence. Be kind to yourself. If you're bashing yourself up for something, forgive yourself. Perhaps put a hand to your heart and just quietly resolve to be a little more gentle and kind to yourself today. And bring your attention perhaps to your parents, those who brought life to you, and whatever the circumstances, remember that bond and send a feeling of kindness, of love, of respect to your parents or to their memory. Remembering what they gave for you and the hugely important role they have. In who you are right now. You can enrich this practice. Perhaps if you sense anyone's discomfort or pain, actually breathe that into your heart, knowing that your love can dissolve that pain and send out genuine wishes that they be peaceful, happy, and successful. And extend your thoughts to your family and your close friends. Perhaps singling one person out with each breath. Bring their memory to your heart as you inhale and send them a burst of kindness, a real burst of kindness and a real sense that they be healthy, happy, successful. Then stretch out that sense of kindness. Push it to more distant friends. Again, wishing that they be healthy, they be happy, they be successful. Imagine yourself sending them peace, love, and joy. And take that to colleagues at work. Think about the neighbors around you. Again, send them peace, love, and joy. And see if you can stretch that out into your town or city. Exhaling with a genuine gentleness, respect, and kindness for others. And for interest's sake, see how far you can spread that love. Can you send it out to your nation? Can you send it out to the planet? To other sentient beings? Maybe even to those who irritate us and those we fear. Okay, nice big in-breath. Stretch your fingers, wriggle your toes, bring yourself back. And once again, just remember, as you walk past someone in the street today, Just from your heart, send them a gentle wish for peace, for love, and for joy. Have a great Wednesday. Good morning.
Thank you, everyone. I wonder on the chat how you're feeling about this. And I hear some people giving me some rather sad but very honest expressions. And I so appreciate that. It must be so hard for some of you. Like Mei Ling, Fina, thank you very much for all your, thank you very much. I know it's very painful. And therefore this video was made in honor of all of us, in honor of all of you. So I was just wondering how you felt about this mindfulness 5 minutes, because it helped me and reaches me in my heart to say that I can finally accept. I do this every morning before I carry on with my work. And it helps me to accept what it is. It is what it is. It helped me to accept that I don't work full time anymore. It helped me to accept that this is my life and I'm contented with it. You know? So that's what, thank you very much, Nadia. So I have a little tool I want to share with all of you, and it's called the zebra steps, right? So if you want to remember this helped me, right? So all these are science-based, and this was useful for me in helping me not to attack other people in the role of caregiving and attack myself so much, right? So I call it the zebra. And what it says here is that even if on moments when you are caring for loved ones, right, just sit the explosion, don't say anything, just hold it, hold the space, and then take that moment to just pause, exhale, inhale, inhale. And once again, sorry for the spelling error, recognize your emotions at that point and say, what am I doing? Is this helpful right now to me? Is it helpful for me to be angry? Is there any point, right? And how can I then review that and act with a bit more, well, not firm, but not as emotionally as you would have, right? So I call this the zebra steps because there were many moments that I felt I was not cared. I felt that, I attacked myself because I felt no one loved me and I did so much for the family, no one did anything for me. I felt a little bit like Mei Ling said, onto myself, but I zipped those explosions. Now today I say, it's okay. It is what it is. You were meant to give, you're not meant to receive in the same way, but they've all loved you. Just leave it. At least make sure their lives are graceful in whatever time they have, right? So I had a coach who once said, step in, step back, step up, step in again. I don't know if you remember that better than zebra, but I love that. Step in, step back, step up, and step in again. And sometimes we need to do that with any situation that we're facing in life. All right. So that was important to me. And the other thing that I wanted to say is, one of the biggest sources of energy for me that I've learned to discipline myself is to move. If you feel stressed in the place that you're in, caregiving, just move about. Do something different. Go to the fridge, get a chocolate, go get a bio break, drink some more water, walk downstairs, come upstairs, move. Because moving helps you in big ways to build up physiology of the body. Because resilience is about the body. Then it affects your emotions and your mind. The body attacks the mind and the emotions. Then everything goes wrong. Okay. And sleep. I finally realized that even if I can't sleep now for the last 1 week, my mom is wide awake. She needs a lot of help to see doctors. Okay. Thank you, Zah. She needs a lot of help. Even now, even if my sleep is compromised, I have gained resilience to take my deep sleep. And my deep sleep, and all of you people, don't be an owl, be a lark. Go to bed by 10:30. That's when the real deep sleep comes. So my question is, what is your energy source? All right. And it's very important. So in Reframe, this is a very tall order from anyone. It's a big ask to reframe. All right. And what I did was I said to myself, if I'm going to remain angry, right, all my life, then I'm always living in the tricep, and it'll always contradict, and it will kill off any form of empathy I could have. There's just no point anymore. And when I learned to accept what I have had in my life, which I felt was shortchanging myself, okay, no one's going to take care of me. I ended up doing everything for everyone. When I accepted that, I wanted to build my biceps and say, I believe in kindness. What? That's why, I was always angry, right? So just go into the positive thought. And for every negative emotions, we have the antidote. There is a positive. Build your biceps, not just your triceps in the gym. So the question I did was, from my fear, I have accepted calm. From my anger, I did it because I've given kindness. And just because I gave kindness, I got angry that I didn't get anything back. But actually deep down inside, my anger came from because I do believe in the emotion of kindness. So what is that tool? What is the emotion you want to build? So my question is, remember, I'll skip the story and send this to you. This is a beautiful story of the old Cherokee. And there was two wolves that we fight in ourselves in life, right? One is a ferocious wolf, and one is a gentle, clever, very clever wolf, but a very compassionate wolf. The question is, these wolves are fighting in us every day, right? And so this old Cherokee tale, the grandfather sat there and told his grandson this, and the grandson said, so granddad, which wolf wins? Question is, the answer to that question was the one you feed. And so all of us have bad and positive emotions. They have to live side by side. They can't go away, right? But the important thing is you got to nurture one over the other, all right? Because both emotions are natural part of lives, okay? So I leave you that. I learned this in the dementia training that I attended in Cal. There's such a thing called reactive versus responsive. In between that is our choice. If I want to be responsive with my mother and not reactive and corrective with her, it lies in my choice. Okay, and the final slide I have for all of you is, right, which one would you like to build for yourselves, right? Which positive emotions can we try to work for ourselves? Which one could we dial up for ourselves? The world of hope, the world of pride, right? Which one could it be, right? And this is my final slide. I have always ruminated into the past. Wow, so sad my life. And now I live in the world of anxiety. All these weight of thoughts are not going to do our mental agility any good. It's not going to do any of us any good, right? It's okay to be upset, and it's okay to ruminate, and it's okay to feel anxious and then hopeful and then happy and then sad. And it's okay to do it sometimes. It's not normal to do it all the time. And the only way for me to live my life right now is to live in the now. Just live now in the present. Don't think about tomorrow till it comes, right? So I always say there's no point being anxious about your anxiety. It's not a good place, right? And that's really where I would like to just end my story today. I wanted to share these few slides as my storytelling because you are a very important person. So am I, and we only have ourselves. But I will never regret caregiving. It is a very difficult privilege, but one that I will never take back. I will never regret it because they're still my parents, right? But it's something that I've had to nurture and build my resilience around. So I'd like to just end my session there today. And I'm really looking forward to the next half an hour of just Q&A and how I can maybe address some of the questions if you all have any, right? So Nadia, over to you. Are there some questions? I think I see some lovely responses from the chat.
Definitely. I mean, I feel so privileged to see some of our attendees be so honest and open with how this experience has been for them. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, now is the time to feel free to ask Dr. Rinkoo. You can either type it in the chat box, or if you'd like, raise your hand, use the icon, or unmute yourself and ask the question. Just to perhaps get the ball rolling, I actually wrote down a couple of things. And I think that it's not so much a question from you, Rinkoo, but it's more just my takeaway. The importance to not just acknowledge your emotion, but also be able to explain them in your mind. I was just sharing with Rinkoo earlier before our session started. I would feel very, very frustrated or sad or scared. I think fearful when my mom talks about things that technically doesn't make sense in the moment. And then I always remind myself in that moment, I have two ways of responding to this. Do I panic? Do I scold her? Do I correct her? Or do I just step into her world and kind of go with it with love and kindness? And the practice that I've only started to do recently is accepting it and understanding it and not judging her and not judging myself for being unsure the first couple of seconds and kind of just go with it. And I think a lot of us as caregivers, we really do feel that. And I think when you addressed that today, it was really powerful. So thank you so much for that, Rinkoo.
No, thank you, Nadia. I think you and I were going through such similar journeys, and I have always avoided my emotions, you see, and it got into the spirit where it wasn't just difficult for me. And I think Sheetal wants to ask a question. I would like to just honor that. It was not just difficult for me in terms of caregiving for my family, but my quality of relationships suffered with my brother and my nieces. And that's when I realized that this is not good. I don't deserve this. This is not right for me. It didn't help me. That's where I realized, wait a minute, my value is empathy, and yet I don't think I'm showing my empathy. Maybe I'm in an empathic distress zone showing, and it's coming out all wrong. But the real empathy was when you don't go there. Don't even let myself go there. Like, just stay in the moment. Love them. So I thank you very much for that. And I love some of the comments. I'd like to address some of those comments. Sheetal, I'd love to hear your question. Thank you for raising your hand.
Sheetal, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question, or do you want me to just read what you've written in the chat box? Because I know that you mentioned, is it okay to still care, engage, and encourage a loved one while being detached? How do we do so without feeling guilty? What do you think?
Is it okay to still care, engage, and encourage a loved one while being detached? How do we? I think, caring and engaging and encouraging a loved one and yet knowing when to disengage. Have you heard of that? When we're caregiving, people say, okay, all right, don't go overboard, disengage a little bit. Come on, that is actually, Sheetal, that is a beautiful thing you're doing. You're not loving them. You are loving them, but you're also a little bit telling yourself, I want to detach from being over emotional and overwhelmed. So if you want to detach your mental agilities, I'm not going to get so worried about this. I'm going to just love them, but I got to stay a little detached from that, like not over worry. That's what I'm trying to get to, Sheetal. In fact, that is resilience.
Yeah? And a bad person? Am I allowed to have a good life?
Of course you're allowed to have a good life. And Sheetal, remember we always talk about me too. It's not a good life. It's not self-soothing, just spa massages, but real self-care is also, everybody knows that, is wearing your oxygen mask and taking care of yourself and also loving them. Also, me and them. That is what I didn't do, you see. I felt that I had to be in this world of, I can't do anything. Even there was a time when my brother said, yes, you can come to me for 7 days to England. You can. You got the best helper now. The aunties want to come round the clock to look after mom. You can come to me. Oh, no, I can't. It's impossible. That's not true, right? A couple of breaks here and there, looking after yourself. I would have never had to worry about managing my emotions if I took those breaks at the right time.
That's true. because the family makes me feel as if I'm not doing enough or I don't care.
That's right.
But I know that, like, for example, my yoga keeps me sane. That really
Yes.
keeps me grounded. And I make it a point to go
Yes.
for my sessions no matter what.
Yes,
So
you
I
do.
just want to know, I hope I'm not doing a wrong thing by taking care of myself, by eating when I'm hungry or meeting a
Oh,
friend for coffee when
no.
I need to.
Oh,
It doesn't
no.
mean I love my mother any less, but I
Oh,
really
no.
have to take care of myself because I cannot keep breaking down. It's
I hear you,
crazy.
Sheetal. I hear the tears in your voice, and I was exactly like you. And there was a time my father just refused to let go of my hand, and he just refused. He said, "You're the only one looking after me. Please, your brother doesn't do anything." And I consume myself with, "No, no, then I can't leave you, Dad. I can't leave you, Dad." That was not the right way, because I went further down, and I didn't know how to look after my mother for 1 year. There was no point. If I looked after myself, like you are saying, I would be, you have taught us something today. So I want you to be very proud of yourself for that.
Thank you.
You have taught us something today. It's a learning moment for us. So thank you.
Thank you. As long as I'm not a bad person, it doesn't matter.
We're not. Yes.
Far from it. Nadia
Yeah.
will tell you, I will tell you, far from it, man. That's the world of resilience. You should come and share next.
Thank you.
Mona actually said in the chat, everyone is entitled to self-care.
Everyone is
Absolutely
allowed.
true.
Everybody is a must. It's an entitlement must. How do you deal with an oversensitive, arrogant, ungrateful, sorry, I can't get that question, blaming parents for everything that is happening to her? How wrong can parents be? I ask her why she's blaming us and expect perfection in everything. Mei-Ling, can you unmute yourself and share a little bit more about this?
I've been suffering this for a long time. Nandita was following up with me all the time. I have a bipolar and what else? Daughter. She has a lot of anger in her, and she become violent. She hurt herself, harm herself. And I went to IMH. She didn't like IMH treatment, so I participated in CAL with all the workshops and all that. But still, I am not able to manage her because basically she's too overwhelming. As what I described, she has a lot of anger in her. Slightest thing, even for example, the dog bark, she will blame me. The insects come in, she'll blame me. And there's dust on the table, she blames me. Everything. And she goes on shopping using my credit card and shop for this and that and all that. Not even thankful. I just don't know how to cope. Until recently, I just said, God, you are not listening to me at all. I have to surrender her to you. I hope you can just kill her off. At least give me another 20 years of my balanced life to live like a human being and not someone who keeps whacking at you and charge at you and whack my husband. How do you feel? Am I a human being? I fought hard for you. I put you to university. I leave all the good food for you to eat while I eat the rest, which is not so good. Wait, what do I get now? Why is my life so bad? Is it bad to be kind to people and animals? Which I proudly say I am, because I rescue animals. I take in all the abandoned, neglected, injured animals who got into accidents. I give my heart to the poor, and yet God is blind. He gave me a daughter like that. I told him, if you can't help me, take her away now. I cannot take the torture anymore. Every day you're yelling, you're banging the door. My 10 dogs at home are so frightened. We are all living under her mercy. I can go mad. So in order to help myself, she has to die. If a mother can speak like that,
Mei-Ling, can I just say
imagine
something?
how much
Can I
pain
just
I have gone through?
Yes.
No one can help me.
Yes. Yes.
I have gone through many talks, many workshops. Nobody can help me. Nothing, except I'm still receiving blames and hurt and violence and threats. You said you want me to die? You still keep this dog? I will hang myself with the leash of the dog. And I put the note on my body. When the police come, they know you are the murderer. Can you imagine I have a daughter like that?
Mei-Ling, can
Who
I just
else
say
is
something?
worse than mine?
Mei-Ling, can I just say something?
Yes.
This is what I call compassion fatigue and burnout and distress, all right? Now,
I know.
I want to tell you that you have done so much more. Never blame yourself. You have done so much more. Don't question why your bipolar daughter does that. She's in a condition. She has got no clue what's happening, all right? She is, what happened is, let me share with you. It's so funny that you mentioned this. Just 3 days ago, my good mate tells me that her aunt is going through the same as you. Daughter is a bipolar, suddenly lashing out on her, threw the chair through the window, almost tried to kill someone near the kitchen, almost hit her little brother, to the point that she was lost, and it was building up, but she didn't realize that she was getting to bipolar. Straight away, as you know, in resilience, we always say seek help, right? Because we're not medical doctors or anything. She had no choice but to take her to IMH to properly get her tested. All right. It was discovered that she didn't only have bipolar, she had psychosis and meningitis. Meningitis affects the brain. Right, Mei-Ling? This is not your role anymore to take. You have done way too much. Whether you wish God to take her or not, that is not for us to say, right? God will do what he has to do. But for you, you have done way and beyond. Now is what I said that I should have done. My father needed much more support than me. That's why I went through, like you, crying and screaming and upset and asking myself, God, why did you give me parents like this? Why did you always leave me alone in Singapore? My brother's having a great life. I had all those similar questions, different contexts. Mei-Ling, your daughter needs medical attention because she might even have meningitis. At the end of the day, she may not even know why she's done that.
No, we have been giving her psychiatrist and therapy. You know how much I spent in total? Minimum 40,000, throughout the many years. 1 week, 2 times psychiatrist treatment. The psychotherapy treatment with the Singapore Counseling Center. And it didn't work at
if
all.
I may just interject, my sister actually has a borderline personality disorder, and my mom was her primary caregiver for years since she was born, and I'm my mom's caregiver now because she had a stroke. But I grew up in a household that had violence, and when I hear you tell us about your experience, my heart really goes out to you, because I essentially was watching my mother go through what you're going through. So the first thing I want to tell you, Mei-Ling, is that you are not a bad mother.
Definitely not.
You are burnt out, and what you need is help for yourself, not just for your daughter, but for yourself. And I'm grateful that you have found a community with us. And we definitely want to take this offline, and we want to stay in touch with you, Mei-Ling, and see how we can help you along with your journey. And I think everybody else in this group have been patient enough to listen to Mei-Ling share her story. But Mei-Ling, please, I know I am not alone in saying that you are not in the wrong. You have done everything you can, and even more. And the words you say out of pain, and it does not make you a bad human being. It does not make you a bad mother.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's right, Mei-Ling. If you can just accept that, right? Self-empathy. You need to accept that first. It's acceptance, remember? Name your feeling and accept it. You have done every possible thing that you can, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how to cope with her because she's so angry and aggressive all the time. And she's judging me. When I feed my old dog because she's dying, she got angry because she doesn't like the dog. for example, So this kind of heart is very, very bad. You must have compassion for the living soul. And not only
I have stopped asking those questions because it is what it is, Mei-Ling. Everyone's life is different. And I stopped that. Okay. Same here. Everyone was telling me, your mother and father give birth to you, give you education, but it's not your role really to take care of them that much. A lot of people in Singapore told me that, right? And that is one perspective. It's not really a children's role to take care of their parents. Many people told me that. I stopped asking that question long ago, right? And you will regret it too if you didn't do what you did, right? So don't worry, you're a good mother. And I have to, if you don't mind, I'd love to take this offline with you. I need to answer a few more other questions if that's okay for you.
Sure.
Right, at this stage.
Okay.
Thank you, Mei-Ling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mei-Ling.
Thank you.
I'd like to take Trisha's question.
Yes.
Okay. How do you react or tell your mom who is in dementia, I want to go back to Jesus? She's not physically well. I love her and quite emotional when she said that I know she was to go one day. My mom says that I don't want to be here. This is not my place. This is not my home. This is your home. I want to go to her. I want to go to him and not to me. Maybe she doesn't say I want to go to God, right? It's okay. It's like Nadia was saying, it's just say, yes, mom. Jesus is going to always be there for you when you go. Don't get emotional. Remember I told you, show your empathy. Don't get emotional. You love her. Even if it's quite emotional inside for you, maybe her time may be coming or not coming. Don't question it. Just accept what she says, right? She feels that because maybe in her heart, remember, sometimes we don't know how to think for them. We just know how to feel, but the higher order of empathy portal is at thinking that maybe in her heart she's feeling, she can't express. My mom can't express anymore. She wants to, she sits so quietly upset. I know what she's saying. I know what she's saying. This is not a life for me. I want to go. That's what she's telling me. All right. But I don't get emotional about it. Instead, when she says, this is not my house, I don't know why you keep me here, I just say, no, mom, I love you. I want to take care of you. Sure, you'll be going to him and her and him and her. And let's carry on. And let's carry on. And if they say they love God and they want to go to God, right? It doesn't matter. Good. It's good, that they can remember. They can remember Jesus, that they can remember. Accept things as is, right? Question nothing. Just let it be. Because if we get very emotional and we know that, oh no, we get worried about, like when my mom used to say things like that, I used to think that she was going to die. This is not my home. I don't belong here. I need to go there with a finger pointing upwards. I would start crying and telling my beautiful helper, Tintin, is she going to die tomorrow? She goes, no, she just said that. It doesn't mean anything, right? And then 6 months later, she's still here. So don't worry so much. Don't ruminate in worry. Worry and anxiety gets us nowhere. All right. And one day in all my worrying, someone said to me, all this worrying and negative thoughts, it's boring. It's very tiring and very expensive. Can you start telling me a few positive things? So I said, well, isn't it a bit fake if I'm always so positive? And they said, no, but can you balance yourself a little bit? So to me, it was the world of the balance, right? Sometimes we'll feel emotional. Sometimes just let it be. Right now, my mom needs hospitalization. In fact, tonight, right? I have learned to accept that and say, it's good. She'll get her tests done. I will know what's wrong. I'll be with her, right? Empathy. I'll be with her. I'll bring her home, right? So we're going to go through these ups and downs. Just let it be, right? Accept, right? Accept that this is what was given to us, right? And we must live this way. And whatever our loved ones say, just love them. Just love them.
I think one of the things that I see quite a few of our those who have tuned in with us, I saw somebody mention that they were listening to our presentation or your presentation, Rinkoo. Yes. And they got distracted by their loved one, which is a very real thing. A lot of us are experiencing right now. Like my mom is within my view and I can see her.
Me too.
Somebody is saying that you get triggered. You can't help but get triggered. And there's another question I saw where somebody said that, you know, Rinkoo, you're a long-term caregiver. Like I've been doing it for 2 years. Some of us been doing it for 5 years. You've been doing it for what, 10 years now? How do you keep going? And that's, like, what do you have to say to that? Like, what would you say to us who are still in this
I asked myself that very question, that you got no idea in that 10 years of my father, right? How many little things I had to do without a helper. I lost so much weight by then, and I had to clean, I had to take him for coffee. It would drive me nuts. I need you to take me to coffee. I want you to take me to Costa Angelita. I want to go for coffee. He can't walk. He can't think. He had silent heart attack. I had to do millions. And my mom, cataract, this, that. And I asked myself, God, how am I even living today? I don't even know. My brother barely came down more than in the 10 years, 5 times maybe, right? I don't know. And I said to myself, it's because I used to tell myself this one thing, that it's a privilege to care, right? And if you can do this, because you see, I didn't find much meaning in work, right? When I used to work, I used to give my extra and be very good. Somehow I always felt that was not meaningful enough to me, because bosses came, bosses went, some were nice, some were not, right? Then when this accidental caregiving landed on me, I felt that although it was such a difficult privilege, I said to myself, I was lying dormant for many years. Maybe I can make myself worthy, you know? And I wanted to get back into very good books for my father and mother, because there was some years of my life I was during my university, I had very bad patches with them. So I took it as a role to give back. I didn't know what I was getting into, all right? And the only way that I could get well or stay ahead was always connecting with 1 or 2 close friends who kept me going and said, we're here for you. You chill, we're here for you. Whatever you need, you call us. I know you're not going to call us. I know you want to be a superhero about everything. You call us, we're right here. I also prayed. To me, God is God, right? Every day I pray, God, please keep me well. 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 Every day. Please, don't let me die before them. Please don't let me die before them. Even today, I am shaking in fear that I'll die of some lung thing before my mother. And I pray to God every day. I give my mom's, I go to the altar. I'm a Hindu. I give my mom's altar, change the water for God, feed God some nice food, put some flowers around. Only in the spirit that I say, God, I only have you, right? And I don't know how I did it, but it was a great perseverance. Burnout, compassion fatigue, overboard, right? But I could have, like Sheetal said, you must know when to love and then also detach a bit. I had a wonderful friend who lost her brother and mother in 1 year, and her love for them was immense. She cried and cried, but she always told me, Rinkoo, whatever you do, you got to learn to detach a little bit. You're going to kill yourself in the process. You're making your mom more miserable like that, but you don't know psychologically. You don't know that you're doing that to her. You're waking up to a dark morning. When you feel dark, she'll feel dark. And so I carried on. I used to say, okay, guys, come on. Great. Great. We made it a day. Dad's okay. Mom's okay. Move on. Press on. I learned that. Press on. Press on. Press on. And I never wanted to give up because of that. I said, I'm in it. I got to carry on with it. Of course, there were many, many tears, many, many burnouts, but they reach out to you and come to you. It was a privilege for me to say, wow, I can help my parents. It's a privilege. Yeah. I saw it that way. I mean, I believed in the concept of the nuclear family being together, So when my brother left me, I had to do it. I lived with them. Yeah. They took care of me when I was young. So I did that. Don't have an answer for that one, but I tried. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being so open with us, Rinkoo. And thank you all for all your questions. As we mentioned at the start, the presentation that Rinkoo went through today will be available, so you'll be able to tap into it and have a look at the tools that Rinkoo talked us through. Remember to check in with yourself in the mornings, how you're feeling, not just acknowledge your emotion, but also explain your emotion to yourself so you'll understand why you're feeling and respond in a better way. I think that, if any of you want to type into the chat box and give each other, I see so many words of encouragement from Mei-Ling. Thank you all so much for being so supportive and continuing this culture of being there for one another in our community. I was just talking to Joanne because she's got an adorable cat with her. And Trisha, who's also on the team, is a cat lover, and I'm a cat lover. So, whatever helps us cope. For me personally, I listen to affirmation tracks. I have this current practice that I'm doing where I'm listening to a guided meditation about gratitude, acceptance, humility, and surrender. We all have different ways of coping. I thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. Thank you so much, Rinkoo, for another amazing presentation. Is there any last minute questions you want to jump on?
I just want to say that there's some lovely comments and also sorrowful, emotional comments. You are right. We can still be freaking out. We're still feeling guilty. My construction of care didn't come like this, and we will always be in that freaky mode. It's not, caregiving does that. It debilitates us, right? So I'd just like to offer this one advice, right? That if you ever need to just reach out to me, Zah can send my email, we can have private clinic sessions where we can just talk. There's so many of you who shared so much on the chat today. You can then really hear my story and what I did along the way to keep me going, right? Can't be shared all in 1 hour. So please connect with me. And I would love to have coaching conversations. I would love to be with you and help you and just be there. That's what we caregivers are here for. So please do reach out to me, because there's so many of you who wrote so many honest expressions that I have only nothing but to say thank you for sharing, though it's very painful. Okay? I'm still living in that worrying about what's going to happen if I move on and die. All these, like I said, I'm not fully in the resilience zone yet. I'm learning, and that's why I'm sharing, right? So I hope you guys can connect with me. I'll be very, very happy for you to reach out to me anytime. And if this session was useful, it's recorded for all of you. So thank you so much, Raylene, and every one of you. Just the chat's going so fast, I can't thank you all enough. There's Peggy, there's Charis, there's Sabrina, there's Patricia, and everybody, like Mosh and Bikyok and everybody. Mo Chang, thank you very much, everybody, just for this 1.5 hour session today with all of you. Just love being here in your presence. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening. And if there's anything else that we can help you with, please feel free to get in touch with us. And we can't wait to see you again soon in our next fireside chat. Thank you all so much. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thanks. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rinkoo.